Hello, everybody. Welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, I also publish on Rumble and on Patreon for extra support. Any kind of updates and the such, I usually go about on Twitter X. Later today, we'll have Planet of Lana episode. I did miss out Friday altogether. Didn't even did gaming news program. Was out the house all day, so that's why. I try to compensate on Saturday with a more beefy episode. But today is Monday. Usually it's a very, very, very slow day. But I've got some interesting gaming deals here. And just a reminder, I need to pack up here. Firewatch will be eventually on completed gameplay series in 4K. Then we got the older ones in 1080p, which is the ones before I did the break after moving out of the country and before even doing the current PC setup that I have now. So let's go to the news. We got some stuff here regarding RDNA for GPUs from AMD. It seems that they have like a two-tier system for their board partners. Again, I don't know how what the conditions are for between the first tier and second tier, except for the fact that the second tier partners get less GPUs or so less chips to manufacture their own graphics cards, which is interesting to say the least. Again, XFX, Sapphire, Power Color, and even Vastamore. I think Vastamore is more dedicated on Chinese market, if not mistaken, and also Eastern. Again, interesting things here. ASUS very global partner there. MSI is not making any RDNA 4 GPUs. I'm not sure if I commented on that or not in previous episodes, but they are not doing this generation any kind of GPUs from MSI. We're not getting any of those. But as you should see, again, the most well-known brands that usually work with AMD seems to be the ones that are the core AMD AAB partners, and then the non-core again, ASRox doesn't usually gets a lot of units sold gigabyte. I'm not sure how long they are working with AMD. Easton, it's not very well known. I think outside of the Chinese market, then we got Acer. Again, I think it's because they never usually deliver huge amounts of GPUs, and I'm not sure how internally they deal with this. But yeah, it seems that we're going to get, as usual, a lot of GPUs from XFX, especially ASUS. Of course, is ASUS from Sapphire, Vastamore, and PowerColor. Usually, from my part, I think Sapphire is like the top tier or equivalent of what EVGA was to NVIDIA. Usually, they deliver a very excellent GPUs. Usually, and then you got the second kind of in terms of quality, XFX, which is the brand that I have from my 7900 XTX that I bought it when I made this PC system. And again, no complaints. I in the videos of unboxing of my GPU that there was I think a couple of people that also bought the same model and they are pretty satisfied with that. But yeah, it's interesting to see that at this moment, again, I will assume this happens the same thing between NVIDIA and the partnerships there. But yeah, it's interesting to see that this came out in terms of the board partners. And again, if you see less of Acer, Eastern, Gigabyte, and ASRock, don't be surprised because they supposedly are getting less chips to make their own graphics card than the remaining or the core AMD AIB partners. And with that said, ASUS is increasing throughout the entirety of their lineup, even from AMD and even from NVIDIA, that they are just increasing the prices from the launch window that they had. For example, we've been seeing 5090s over $3,000, which is insane. It's like 60 something percent more expensive than the MSRP. Again, even though usually these are overclocked editions, so usually it tends to be a little bit more expensive. We expect that to a certain degree, but again, 65% off. It's one. You can buy another GPU by the difference of price between MSRP and the price they are trying to sell, and of course. The in terms of the 5000 series, so the Blackwell, uh, there's still not a lot of stock here on these GPUs here, which is uh, again, I don't know what's happening with Nvidia, but even at the supposedly MSRP, they just ramp up the price. In this case, from the 5090 Astral OC, which is this one, by two. It was before around 3,000, and they increased like $280 just out of nowhere. And of course, this is also reflecting on the RDNA 4 GPUs. We got, for example, the supposedly when launched at MSRP, which I think this one, 10th edition Radeon. No, sorry, not this one. This one, the XT variant OC edition, was launched at the $600 MSRP, and now it's around $720, which is an increase of around, I don't know, 20% almost. It's $120 more expensive, which is basically it's supposedly at the same price almost that MSRP of the 5070 Ti, which is supposedly is the competition, supposedly delivering 23% price to performance more than the 5070 Ti. But then again, if you don't keep your cards at the MSRP price, there is no 23% uplift in terms of price to performance there with the competition. Again, MSRP, I think people also cling to a little bit, and it's a shame that AMD didn't do any reference model cards to basically try to anchor the MSRP or the promised MSRP, given that this is basically like it's not a mandatory price, it's more a guide price. And basically, people are not guiding themselves for that MSRP there, which is a shame. Even though supposedly the RDNA GPUs or the AMD GPUs are selling pretty well with plenty of stock. That's why I don't. We didn't see yet. And again, this is just from ASUS. But yeah, I think that's why there isn't hasn't been, sorry, huge of a price gouge regarding the comparatively with Nvidia, which again 60 something percent. It's too much. It's almost between 1.5 and 2 times the price of MSRP. And again, we are talking $2,000 to $3,000. Again, you can build a pretty excellent system and have a GPU and CPU and all that jazz and pretty extra 4K monitors and manage to build a system to play games at 4K comfortably. Even my system cost less than this for sure. I think it was around $2,500, and I can play games at 4K again without the need of this beast of a price of a GPU there. Um, then again, this is from hardware. Not much else happening except it's not good for the GPU market at this point, and I'm focusing on the most egregious cases here from ASUS, given that they have I don't know more brand recognition in terms of in terms of hardware there. In terms of software, again, I'm interested to see more stuff coming out of Valve, especially on the software side of things. Again. Windows is has the monopoly of operating systems, and what I think Valve is doing, especially entering through the handheld devices here, I think might be we might be reaching an inflection point on in terms of operating systems, because what I would really like out of this SteamOS is that you can install the SteamOS, and then of course having all the games or the Steam with all the library of games, but also have extra support, for example, for other software, like for example recording software, editing software, something that it's relatively more focused on content creators, in the sense that you don't need all the bloat that Microsoft Windows comes into. Because interestingly enough, from what I understand, I think AMD GPUs perform quite well on Linux-based systems, And I think to a certain extent, Valve can deliver. I don't know, a SteamOS where we can just install the thing on your PC, install the games, install the software. For example, I think OBS is already on Linux. I think it's already compatible with that. But for example, I don't know, uh, software that for you to edit images and content creation that people usually use, and I don't know, all the RGB stuff that usually comes around when you buy like the keyboards, and a little bit more for a core audience to get that kind of experience similar to Windows. It's what I'm waiting for, in a certain sense, because I'm not very savvy on operating systems. I always dealt with Windows. O- uh, s- uh, Sorry, Windows operating system, and I know my way around there. I know when I want to set up or do a fresh install. I know what I want to install. I usually know how to modify stuff to my liking, but I never touched Linux. But yeah, I think if SteamOS to a certain point manages to deliver a very similar experience that we have to a certain extent with Microsoft, but having a more, again, less bloat, deliver excellent performance on at least when you play the games, and deliver a good experience overall. I think we'll see a huge swing in the market of probably Windows lose a lot of market share on the operating, given that they have the monopoly. I think 95% of devices are Windows based, at least on the PC side of things. But this latest update, again, I'm not an engineer. I don't understand very well what this means here, but it seems from what I read that the SteamOS, the preview, so version 3.7.0, it seems to be able to, on the handheld, to kind of use like a desk mode kind of experience there, which is very interesting. Probably we'll see something more in line with desktop experience from this Steam OS later this year. I don't know. Again, the Steam itself or Valve is not promising anything, but it's interesting that supposedly it's on the works. Kind of desktop SteamOS for desktop PCs. But yeah, they are doing a lot of tweaking and a lot of support on hardware already existing, and trying to deliver even better performance of what they already have included there on the SIMOS, which is something that I would like to see um, a huge adoption. So at least maybe I don't know. I don't foresee Microsoft being in a panic mode if all of the sudden they lose, for example, let's say 40 million devices using Windows, because they have the corporate stuff, the corporate environment when they sell their own software. So I don't think they are very worried, but it might be a signal to say that they need to take their shit together. Because again, been seeing from even from hardware reviewers with a lot of issues. We got something like that with the AMD CPUs, the 9000 ones when they launch. They had like a performance difference between different versions of the Windows. There was some shenanigans happening there. Um, but yeah, hopefully we will see something better supported, and they will come up with a SteamOS for desktop PCs. Hopefully, one of these days. Hopefully, by the end of this year, we have a better notion what they're trying to come up with, and probably maybe I will even change to that, and see how it goes. And then lastly, we got just a quick reminder, reminder. This game seems very interesting. I watched again the trailer there. I'm very interested in this game mainly because of the setup there. I think there's something here that we might be a good game, which is this mystery survival RPG, which is called Hello Sunshine. Again, I do recommend for you to check the trailer there. Seems very interesting, kind of a survival game there with the day and night cycle. All during the day, you have to stay on the shadow of this giant robot so you don't burn in flames, let's say, and then during the night you need to stay close to him, because while he charges for the cycle of the next day there. And then again, with that said, you got the usual mechanics of while you were exploring through the day, you just scrounge around and get stuff there. So at night you can do the upgrades, the repairs, and all that jazz. And with that said, that there is some story to be told there. Again, throughout the trailer you can understand very well what kind of story it is, but basically the gist is you are on a journey to someplace. Again, I forgot to make a decision for the planet to a certain degree, which is interesting enough by itself. But I think that the mechanic side, game mechanic systems side of the thing there might be the most interesting thing regarding this game. But yeah, very interesting here. And then I will wrap up here with the huge quantity of gaming deals. Again, this gaming deals for today is from the spring sale. Again, huge deals happening all over the place, but I will covering the ones that I have on my library, so I don't forget. And you got here starting off with a Plague Tale Innocence. I did buy this game. I will eventually do a gameplay series to see if it's worth afterwards buying the second game. But it's at 80% at this moment in time. I think this will end up in 20th of March, so around 3 days or so till we have this spring sale. Then we got Alien Isolation, excellent game, 75% off. I really do recommend the collection here because the extra goodies that you and the extra modes that you can play on seem to add a lot of value here. But yeah, 75% off on the base game. I did a gameplay series on this one very long time ago, and it's one of those that I want to replay and try out in 4K to see how it holds up from 2014. But yeah, I do recommend this game. Same thing here with Balatro. Again, only 50% off, but it's a cheap game. Again, here I don't have a lot of hours on the PC. I've been playing this mostly on my cell phone. It's the only game that I have on my cell phone. And yeah, it's addicting. It's those kind of deck builder kind of a thing there with some roguelike runs. You have challenges. Again, I really do recommend this game if you like this kind of card games here. Then you got the Batman Arkham Collection, the trilogy here, Game of the Year editions on the both of the first two ones. Then you got Arkham Knight plus the season pass there. Everything is included around 80% or 85% off. So it's pretty cheap trilogy and very excellent quality. This trilogy is very well rounded here. Then you got Control Ultimate Edition. I really do recommend Ultimate Edition. The DLC does add up to a lot of stuff there, and I didn't make a series out of this. I played by myself. I really did enjoy the game. The themes and the things that they try to explore here, they are pretty much very Lynchian in how they are approached. But yeah, I really did enjoy this game. Then we got also Dead Space remake. I did a gameplay series out of this one. I think the base edition is more than enough. The special edition does only have like some extra skins for Clark Isaac. But yeah, I do recommend this game. The only nitpick that I have is the vertical stuttering that happens from time to time while loading in the background the remaining area where you go through. Other than that, it reminds me. It's the same feeling that I had with playing the first one. We got the same thing. I bought recently Death Stranding Director's Cut, 50% off. Again, I did claim this game on Epic Game Store for free, but yeah, I will. I bought the game. I will basically will have to start up the game from the beginning. There is some. If you manage to claim this game on Epic Game Store and you going to buy here on Steam, there is a workaround on the save stuff, so you don't start off from the beginning. It's a little bit finicky. You have to be aware of Xcode kind of tweaking there to pass through the checks of the saves to Steam. But I will start off again from the beginning for sure. It's going to be also a reminder in terms of the story because it's been a while since I played the game. Then you got Deus Ex Human Revolution Director's Cut. Again, stamp of approval for my part, 85% off. and the same thing for Deus Ex Mankind Divided, the sequel, 85% off. I do recommend Digital Deluxe Edition. It adds a little bit more extra value there. We got also Dome Keeper. I do recommend this game. I played a little bit here and there. I played a lot of the demo before I bought the game, and I do recommend this game, especially at this price point. If you like this kind of games here, it's one of those that you will be entertained for hours. Then you got Elden Ring. Interestingly enough, it's only the base game that it's for sale, from what I understand here. 40% off. It's very rare to see Elden Ring on sale, so I think this is a good option for you to get into the and get lost on this world, because again, I do recommend stamp of approval. I did a lot of the live streams that I mainly consisted of Elden Ring, and again, Shadow of the Earth 3. Again, it just adds up to the core game there. Then we got Firewatch. I did a series on this one. I do recommend, especially at this price point, 80% off, which is even more cheaper than I bought myself in. Again, narrative-driven game, kind of relatively short but sweet experience there, and I do recommend. It has a stamp of approval there. Jusam, I also recommend 50% off. I'm at this moment in time still trying to get around and wrap up the recording the series of this one. But from what I played, I really did enjoy it, and I think this is a very excellent experience for you to try out. So I do recommend this game. We got also Metro Saga bundle. Again, it's one of those trilogies that it's pretty solid. We got the Redux versions of the first two, plus Metro Exodus and the expansion pack, 85% off, give or take. And it's pretty cheap, and I do recommend that this trilogy here also. Then you got Mutant Year Zero Road to Eden. I did get to play around and did a gameplay series on this one, plus the Road, I think it's Road to Eden, no. Yeah, Seed of Evil, the expansion. I also did with that expansion. Again, if you're not sure if it is for you, you can play the demo, or you can check out the first episode that I did on this series to have an idea what this game is about. But I do recommend this game at this price point. We got Nier Replicant, again, 60% off. I didn't start playing this one, or even the Nier Automata, 60%. But again, they have always had a very positive feedback, so it's one of those that I'm really wanting to try out. Then we got also Planet of Lana. Did a gameplay series on this one. I do recommend this, especially at this price point, 50% off. Again, very interesting experience here. We got also Resident Evil franchise. All the games are on sale. I will leave just the links of all Resident Evil games, so you can pick and choose to complete your collection there. We got also Slay the Spire. Again, Slay the Spire 2 will eventually come out, I think, next year or by the end of this year. I don't think we have a concrete launch date, but in the meantime, you can play this game. Again, I already have at least 150 hours playing this game, which is a very addicting, also deck builder kind of a game there. And it's again, it's a no-brainer, 75% off. Again, if you like deck builder games, this is the one for you. Then you got the Jedi Fallen Order, 90% off. I do recommend this one. Even the deluxe edition, it's more than okay. I did again a gameplay series on this one and the sequel. Very enjoyable games. Again, it has its issues in terms of some I don't know, quality, overall quality, but it's an enjoyable experience nonetheless. And the same thing can be said Survivor, Jedi Survivor, which is an improvement on the first one. The only thing, the main complaint might be, I don't know, PC performance overall. But other than that, in terms of stories and all that jazz, it's more than serviceable. It's a good side story of Star Wars stuff there. And it's 75% off, so it's more than okay. I do recommend, if you like Star Wars, to play this game. It's a very competent duology here. Then you got The Evil Within, again, 75% off, no brainer, a horror game. Again, not. Again, this is an older game, 2014, but I do really like what you're trying to do here in terms of the horror side of things. And the same thing can be said on the Evil Within 2. Again, I did a gameplay series on both of these games. I do recommend at this price point. again, I don't like to playing on first person on the Evil Within 2. I always use third person. But yeah, I do recommend, if you want to check out, you can check out the first episode of each of the series to have a kind of a perception of what this game is about. But yeah, I do recommend. Then you got Tomb Raider Definitive Edition Survivor Trilogy. Again, the free Tomb Raider games with all the DLC and all the super duper stuff there. Around 85% off. It's very cheap. I do recommend. It's a very solid trilogy. I played the first two games. I did a series on the second one. I never managed to play Shadow of Tomb Raider, but I think it's a pretty good conclusion on this trilogy. So it's got the stamp of approval from my part. Then you got Wall World. I already played this game with the DLC, which is the Dive Deep or Deep Dive, Deep Threat, sorry. And the game, it's the base game is 70%. Again, it's very cheap. It's $2 or something like that. I think $5 with the deep dive stuff there, and it's a very underappreciated game. If you like this kind of systems here with a little bit tower defense, boss fightings, the mining stuff, plus all the roguelike qualities to it, very good game. I really did enjoy this one, and it's already announced a sequel, which I'm hoping to get around and also play when it comes out. But yeah, a very underrated game here for you to try out. Then we got still Wasteland 2 Director's Cut. Again, got a step of approval, 75% off. Again, buy the digital deluxe edition as extra goodies there that add up to the game. And the same thing can be said on Wasteland 3. Again, I still not play the game, but from what I read, it's a very excellent continuation of the Wasteland 2. And it's at this moment in time 35% off. I do recommend the Colorado edition. uh, I bought the Colorado edition, but again, I'm not sure why this is not said in my library. But I did bought the Colorado edition there. Yeah, it's one of those that I will eventually, this series will eventually be brought up on the channel as a gaming series there. And then lastly, we got Wolfenstein Alternative History Collection. Again, I do recommend all of them except Youngblood. It's the one that it has mixed reviews. Again, it's not from Blazkowicz's story; it's their daughters. Uh, so his daughter, sorry. But yeah, the supposedly the sequence is Old Blood, the New Order, the New Colossus, and then supposedly these are his daughters to continue with the gameplay there. But I think it has had poor reception. Never tried this one out. But yeah, other than that, I think that those three games are a pretty good high note on the shooting Nazis there. But yeah, this is all I got from my library. That it's on a deal here, that it's worth mentioning. But yeah, I'm going to wrap up here. It's been a long gaming deal section, but I wanted to let it all everybody know that we have excellent deals on this spring sale. Very high percentage of the deals are pretty good. But yeah, I'm going to wrap up here with plugging my Patreon for X support as usual. The X support is more in line for me to get around and get a better storage solution so I can have backups of stuff that I do for my clients. And of course, some extra space for the videos that I do for the channel. And with all that said, I hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you in the next one. So until then, Kunami Master out.